Recipes, where we elevate everyday meals using tried and true techniques. I'm Mark Matsumoto, and today I'm going to show you a simple, delicious staple of Japanese home cooking called Hambāgu. It may look like just a flat meatball, but it's so much more flavorful than that, and it's glazed in a beautiful sweet and sour sauce that makes it a favorite with kids and adults alike. I always like to make a big batch because I can use the leftovers for sandwiches and to pack into bento boxes the next day. Alright, let's get started. Our ingredients today are ground beef, tofu, panko breadcrumbs, oyster sauce, an egg, onions, garlic, nutmeg, black pepper, vegetable oil, ketchup, red wine, tuna sauce, and oyster sauce. The first thing you want to do is finely dice your onions and garlic. Wow, that was easy! Now we're going to put the onions in a microwave-safe bowl and cover it. We'll pop that in the microwave for about 4 minutes at 800 watts. The bowl's going to be hot, so put on some oven mitts and take the bowl out of the microwave. You want to let this cool down a bit before removing the lid. Once the onions have cooled down enough to touch, add the ground beef, panko, tofu, oyster sauce, black pepper, and nutmeg. Nutmeg loses its fragrance quickly once ground, which is why I like to grate it myself. Now we're ready to mix this up. Or not. It looks like I forgot something. We can't forget that egg, which is going to help bind everything together. Now we're actually ready to knead everything together. I suggest wearing a glove for this, otherwise your hand's going to be extra moisturized. Which is good, until you realize your new hand lotion smells like beef and onions. Okay, let's speed that up a little bit. I like adding tofu to my Hamburg steak because it adds richness while keeping the beef nice and moist. Don't worry, your patties aren't going to taste like tofu, but be sure to knead it well enough that you can't see it anymore. Okay, that looks about right. Okay, time to shape the Hambāgu. I recommend putting some parchment paper down so the patties don't stick. You can also shape them and drop them straight into the pan so you can avoid having to transfer them. This is another step I'd recommend gloves for. I ran out of white ones, so it's on to the blue examination gloves. Now we just have to form the meat mixture into thick oval patties. I like making them on the large side, which helps keep them meaty and juicy. But the large ones are a little hard to handle, so you can make them smaller if you want. I'd also recommend making them a bit smaller if you're planning on packing these into a bento box. When you form the Hamburg patties, you want to kind of toss them back and forth between your cupped hands. This not only helps give them their shape, it also removes any air pockets that might cause your patty to fall apart as it cooks. Okay, time to go to warp speed. Makes it look easy, doesn't it? All done! Now aren't those just the best looking patties you've ever seen? Now we're just going to heat a pan over medium heat until hot, add some oil, and then we're going to swirl it around to coat the pan evenly. Once the pan is nice and hot, you're going to go in with the patties and let them brown on one side. I like using an uncoated, heavy-bottomed pan here because it'll develop a nice thick layer of brown bits on the bottom. This is going to give our sauce a ton of flavor. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. Once the patties are nice and brown on one side, it's time to flip them over. Wow, look at the color on that! This is the kind of browning you're looking for. It's those caramelized beef juices that are going to give our sauce a wonderful flavor. Now we just need to let these brown on the other side. Once they're nice and golden brown on the other side, go ahead and transfer them to a plate, and you can cook the other 4 patties in the same pan. By the time you've fried all 8 Hamburg patties, you're probably going to have a lot of grease in the pan. Use a paper towel to soak up all that fat, but be sure to leave the brown bits as this is going to form the beefy base for our sauce. Now that we've cleaned up the grease, let's go ahead and add the meat back in. Then you want to pour on the red wine and quickly cover it and let it steam for about 2 to 3 minutes. Between the browning and the steaming, they should be cooked through, but if you're nervous about it, check it with an instant read thermometer. Anything above 150 degrees Fahrenheit and you're good. Now we just have to pull the Hamburg steaks out of the pan so we can make the sauce. In goes the ketchup, the oyster sauce, and finally the tuna sauce. Then we've just got to stir that all together. You want to be sure you get all those caramelized beef juices off the bottom of the pan and into the sauce. Once the sauce is a uniform color, you're ready to add the Hambāgu back in. Just drop them back into the pan and roll them around in this ultra flavorful sauce. The combination of the savory beef and sweet tangy sauce is indescribably good, and I'm getting hungry just looking at them. Look at how shiny that glaze is. I don't know about you, but this is making my mouth water. These Hambāgu are literally bursting with savory beef juices, and despite how simple the sauce is to make, it tastes like you reduced a demi-glace for hours. Today I've served these with creamy mashed potatoes, but they're also really good with rice. Let's cut one open. Wow, look how juicy that is. Hit the link in the description for the full recipe, and if you enjoyed this video, leave us a like and be sure to subscribe for more delicious everyday meals.